the regime of objectivity and impartiality has suffered some collapses that have really hurt the whole model. And in particular, the one that is most urgent today is that when you have a political system in which one major party is playing by the traditional rules of politics and looks recognizably like a political party that we've had for 50 plus years, and the other party has kind of exited from that system, is generating power in a different way through some of the methods that you're talking about, identifying vulnerability in communities and disinformation. When you have an asymmetry between major parties like that, there is a tendency for news media that is wedded to objectivity or impartiality to distort that picture of that by portraying it as two roughly similar enterprises that are in conflict over their point of view. And so the asymmetry disappears. And I think the difficulty of reacting to an asymmetrical political environment is a huge crisis for impartiality and objectivity. But even to talk about it with our journalists is super hard, because they have so many incentives to ignore that, to re-narrate what I just said.
Yeah, I agree. If I could just come in briefly before I'm sure Ayala's got things to say. I mean, false equivalence is the main criticism of impartiality. But
Yes.
I would say that's not the benchmark for it. That is evidence of it failing. And, you know, if impartiality is done properly or objectivity is done properly, then you don't fall for the false equivalence trap because you've properly weighted the evidence and reflected that in the way that you report. But that is hard work. It takes time. It's often expensive. And that's another reason why we've got a lot of opinion, because opinion is much easier and much cheaper, and lots of people like it. So it produces the clicks and produces the revenue. So that's part of the crisis of journalism, I think, is that, you know, we have, and my old employer, the BBC, I worked there for a long time, but some very good people have left to go and sit behind a microphone and opine, because that's a lot easier and now more lucrative than going out in the field and doing the hard work of finding the evidence, properly weighing it up, properly presenting it in a way that produces, you know, value and impartiality and objectivity.